So, what is the issue is the interview with international scholars in Russian universities. The first question is about motivational factors for international scholars to work in Russian university, to choose Russia as a country, city within Russia, and which particular university. Well, my comment is that unfortunately, presently there are sanctions which are very, very strict in Western Europe and in the Western world. And even if it's not strictly related to cultural experiences, still they have some importance on what can be the motivational factors for international scholars. Actually, I hope that sanctions will stop very soon, and I hope that there will be more interest for some which is considered by us a new cultural and unexplored world, because very little is known in the Western world about this. The second question is, what is the attitude towards Russian university, reputation of Russian university internationally, changes in the reputational in recent years? Well, I would comment that reputational of Russian university is very high all over the world, even if it's very little known. We know very, very little about what's going on in cultural issues in Russia. Unfortunately, this is mainly related, in my opinion, to the language barriers and to the relative lack of publications in English language from Russian universities members. So my advice would be for the coming time to publish more in English journals and to go on with the abolishment of the language barrier. Other question is main sources of information about Russian activities and Russia in general. Well, actually, what we know is mainly coming from the web and from personal information. In my case, as I can speak for myself, I have good friends in the Russian scientific community. For example, Professor Alexei Kubanov, who is the president of the Russian Society of Dermatology, Professor Olga Olizova, who is chair of the Department of Dermatology at the Second University in Moscow, and then Professor Lomonosov, who is also in Second University, and then Professor Zavslavsky, who is the chairman of the Department of Dermatology in St. Petersburg. Obviously, we cannot stick only on personal acquaintances, and we should have unbiased information. I think that for this there should be created a sort of circular information with Western universities, so that starting with the cooperational issue, everything can be done easily, thanks to the cooperation of different international megaphones related to the academic world. Other question is the adaptation of international scholars in Russia and the main difficulty barriers, the new conditions in the COVID time. Well, we know very little about COVID of Russia in Western Europe, in the Western world in general. And I think that for getting out of this problem, the best could be to stick on distant education and mainly on telemedicine. In other words, I think that telemedicine could be the recipe for getting out of this main issue. Which are the expectations related to the work in Russia and in Russian universities? How these expectations were fulfilled, futures and perspectives in the cooperation with Russian university. Actually, I had excellent experience with the Second Medical University in Moscow, the first department of dermatology of the Second University in Moscow, and my experience is absolutely positive, and I see very high perspective for cooperation in each and every academic fields. What's about the satisfaction to work in Russian university, different aspects of work like teaching, research, infrastructure, social context, living conditions, general life conditions in the country? Unfortunately, it is again very difficult to say, because Russia is a little bit out of the regular circuits of the Western world for academic activities. And on the other hand, in this very moment, COVID is preventing us from all over the world to move with free chances and visit Russian universities. What's about the changing in working conditions in Russian university in COVID time? Long-term and short-term changes, main trends in organization of research and teaching work in university during and after COVID. Well, my comment is that, again, I feel that we should start with a very large and articulated program of so-called telecommunication in academic fields. I believe that telematics in university academics should be the first and the main step for getting successful into this field. The last question is advantages of working in Russian university, unsolved problems, the role of international scholars in promoting and improving Russian higher education, and attractive factors and barriers in advancing international cooperation and higher involvement in scholars. Well, I think that there is a need for faculties and teachers who are knowledgeable, but Russia is rich of knowledgeable academicians, and mainly who are fluently English speakers. Without such a faculty, everything will be difficult, because Russian language is mostly unknown around the Western world. I think that it could be useful a cooperation with the telematic university. Some telematic university, for example, my University of Rome, the Guglielmo Marconi, they had a main office and headquarters in Moscow, and it was a very good experience. I think that a good recipe could be trying to create a very articulated and very wide connection with the university, with the telematic work, and distribute all over the world what is the Russian experience and the cooperation with other countries. So in general, I see that international scholars in Russian university is in the near future will be very successful. I see that the main obstacles are in the language, in the request of visa, and in the ongoing sanctions from the Western world against Russia. Many of these ugly things are going to stop very soon, and the scientific cooperation cannot be stopped by anybody. We know that research is free, communication is free, and with a good telematic infrastructure, we will start a very wide activity, and then it will be realized by bringing many students to excellent Russian universities and to visit the most beautiful Russia. Thank you for this interview.